Senator King, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A question or a comment to Mr. Camarillo and Mr. Wagner. In 2018, the Pentagon commissioned a study by the Institute on Defense Analysis on geographic diversity within the military. And they made some rather startling findings. In 1975, 48% of those serving in the military were from the South and the West. And at that same time, 47% were from the Midwest and the Northeast. Today, it's 67% from the South and the West, and only 30% from the Midwest and the Northeast. Mr. Camarillo, I have a concern about that we don't want our professional standing army, if you will, to reflect only one or two regions of the country. What can we do to strengthen the diversity, the geographic diversity, as well as other areas of diversity, but I'm interested particularly in geography. Do we need additional recruiting effort, a change of strategy? I don't think it's healthy for the country to have a regional standing army.
Senator, I agree with you on the need to pursue more geographic diversity in our recruiting efforts, and it's a view that I believe is shared by the Army leadership right now. As you noted, and we discussed this before, the number of youths in this country that are propense to serve in the military has declined over the last couple of decades, which makes it very hard to be able to attract the talent that we need for our all-volunteer force. Certainly, the ability to cast a wide net geographically across the United States and all the talent that it has to offer is an absolute imperative. Now, Senator, my understanding is that the Army has taken steps in this direction by looking at major urban centers in different population areas in the country, other than those where it typically recruits, to be able to establish different recruiting efforts, to be able to attract talent into the Army in those regions. And if I'm confirmed, Senator, I would work with Army leaders and with Secretary Wormuth and with you to be able to address that issue as it relates to the Northeast.
I think one of the other things that's contributed to this, it's an unintended consequence of the way base distribution has been changed over the last 40 or 50 years. There are no substantial military bases in the Northeast. My hometown was a home for 50 years to a naval air station. It was bracked at the beginning of this century, and so we lost those Navy people that the young people saw and would look up to. And this report, in fact, refers to that as one of the major factors is, do the young people growing up in a community have some contact with or familiarization with the military? And so we've changed that fundamentally because of decisions that I don't think all of which were well-founded. But I think this is a serious problem. Mr. Wagner, Manpower and Reserve Affairs, same question.
Senator, clearly diversity is one of America's greatest strengths, and it's not only the right thing to do, but it also provides us a strategic advantages. As you've pointed out, that includes geographic diversity. When I served previously in the Department of the Army, we were aware of the problem that you point out, what we call the smile that goes through the southern half of the United States. And as I noted in my opening statement, I am an example of exactly what you point out. Growing up in Los Angeles, going to college in Rhode Island, and living in Seattle, I had scarce ability to interact with people who served, to see them every day, to socialize with peers, and to have people to look up to. It wasn't until later on in my life that I actually engaged anyone in the military.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm running out of time. But I just hope that both of you in your positions will make a conscious effort to address this problem, not just, oh, we're having an additional recruiting office in Boston or something, but to really think about this, because those numbers are pretty startling. To have gone from an even distribution in 1975 to 2/3, 1/3 today. That's a shocking change to me. Final question in a few minutes to Mr. Hunter, more of a statement, and this goes to the sustainment cost. When you're buying platforms, I hope that you will insist, in fact, I will insist that you insist, that you buy the intellectual property along with the platform so that we can 3D print parts that we're not subject to supply chain of OEM and the rest of the supply chain. The intellectual property is part of what we should be paying billions of dollars to acquire. Do you agree?
Senator, I do agree. I commit to you that if confirmed, I will work on the intellectual property to ensure that we are acquiring the intellectual property the services need to sustain their systems and to promote competition over the long term.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.